Hello everyone, it's Strings Away here. Welcome to my Learn How to Crochet series. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to decrease, how to do an invisible decrease, which is actually what I do most of the time. The third thing is just how to tell if your work is inside out or just making sure that you're not crocheting inside out. First things first, how to do a decrease. So what we're going to do in the decrease, it starts out the same as a single crochet. We put our hook underneath both of these, the stitch here, it looks, I call it a V. Pull that yarn through, but instead of pulling this through both hoops, we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the next stitch over. Put our hook underneath that whole stitch, so underneath these two, the V. Pull the yarn through both. We now have 3 loops on our hook. Finally, now we're going to pull the yarn through all 3. And then that way, we've made 1, so we just have 1 stitch on top, but we've used up 2 spaces doing that. I'm going to undo that and then show you how to do the invisible decrease. The invisible decrease basically just looks a lot cleaner and it uses up less yarn. So I just find that it makes the work look better. So the way you do that is each stitch, I call it a V, it has 2 kind of points. For the decrease, we put our hook underneath both of them to pull the yarn through. For the invisible decrease, we're not going to put our hook through the back loop. We're only going to put it through the front. Okay? So first thing we do, put this hook underneath there. And I'm actually not even going to pull the top strand over yet. Okay? So we're going to ignore that for now. We are going to do the same thing to the next stitch. So slip the hook right through the middle. We're not touching the back loops. We're just putting it through the front. Now I'm going to pull this yarn through those just the 2, and then I've got my 2 loops on the hook, pull it through. It's just a little bit cleaner because the space that it leaves behind actually looks a lot like a regular crochet stitch, but it's just a little bit angled. So we can see, look at all our stitches beneath, and then we just did a decrease and it looks almost the same. It's a little bit twisted, but hides the decrease a lot more. So we're going to do that again. I'm going to do 2 single crochets before I do another invisible decrease. Alright, there's my 2 single crochets. I'm ready to do my invisible decrease. So I'm going to put my hook under just the first loop of the next stitch of this V. There we go. I'm not going to do anything yet. I'm going to do the same thing to the next stitch. So these are the 2 that I'm reducing into 1. Now I will pull the yarn through both of those. I've got 2 loops on my hook and pull through once more. That's how you do the invisible decrease. The last thing I wanted to go over is just making sure that you're not working inside out. So as I'm crocheting along around the round here, this is actually meant to be the outside of the work. When I first began, and I see this too in a lot of beginners, you're not really sure which side is inside or outside. This is actually inside out. So when it's inside out, it looks a little bit different. Like it's sort of like you see this flat line and then 2 underneath. Whereas if it's right side, it has more V's. And the reason why this is the right side, it just makes a tighter shape, like it's tighter together. If you're also doing anything where it comes to a point, this is a circle, so obviously it's not going to come to a point. But if you're crocheting inside out, the edges are just a lot more broader. Like you can see it's just sort of like more robust or more round. So if this were to be a point, it's not going to be a very sharp point. It's going to be like kind of flat looking. So just make sure that when you're crocheting in your circles, the part on the outside, or kind of like the part underneath you, underneath your work, that is the part that should be facing outside. All right, I hope that video was helpful, teaching you how to make sure that you're not crocheting inside out and how to do a decrease, or if you're up for it, an invisible decrease. Thanks for watching. Take care. Hey, if you want to try out some of my free amigurumi patterns, head to stringsaway.ca. Check out my other YouTube channel, Kisskers. I do a lot of vlogging, mostly about food and traveling. Ciao for now.